Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentor Talks. We're going to be going live today in very shortly, and I'm going to invite our guest. But in the meantime, why don't you all tell us where you are tuning in from? I see that we're getting some viewers trickling in. We're reporting to you live from Washington, D.C., where we're experiencing the cherry blossom peak. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. We're waiting for our guest today to join us. But without further ado, I'll start. So welcome to Mentor Talks. I'm Maria Iliadis, and today I'll be your host from the Office of Alumni Affairs in the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, also known as ECA, at the U.S. Department of State. Our office opens the door to the million-strong Exchange Alumni Network, professional development, and grant opportunities for alumni of U.S. government educational cultural exchange programs. Mentor Talks is a chance for you to connect with Exchange alumni leaders, hear their stories and career advice. And in just a few, we're going to be joined by our guest, Katie Shafau, a dancer, choreographer, author, entrepreneur, and two-time Exchange alumni from the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, also known as AWE, and the International Visitor Leadership Program, or IVLP. And so we'll wait in just a few and we'll do the fuller introduction to Kaffy, which I'm very excited about today. But in the meantime, where is everyone tuning in from? Oh, thank you for the hearts from our viewers. And feel free while you're waiting in the chat for the program to begin to send us your questions for Kaffy. Hello, Kaffy. How are you?
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so excited that you're joining us today.
Yes, I am. I'm excited. I'll be looking forward to it anyway.
Great. So I started doing an intro to you, but I'll run it again for people. So for those of you who have just joined in, Kaffy Shafau is a dancer, choreographer, author, entrepreneur, and two-time Exchange alumni. She's done both the AWE, Academy for Women Entrepreneurs Program, and IVLP, which is the International Visitor Leadership Program. And in 2006, she became a Guinness World Record winner for organizing the longest dance party for, wait for it, for dancing for 55 hours and 40 minutes. I do want to know more about that, of like, how do you pull that off? So welcome, Kaffy, to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the U.S. exchange programs. They've really impacted my life, and I'm happy off of that to have this opportunity to be on this program as well. So thank you.
Yeah, our pleasure. So you, Kaffy, you founded your fitness program, Kaffy Creative Agency, in 2004. What inspired you to start this company and to continue running it for 2 decades?
Yeah. So the fitness outfit started off way before then. It was in 1998 when I was struggling with my own weight. Yes, I was trying to lose weight. So I used to be a size 16, and that propelled me on the journey of fitness and wellness. And I also found the love for basketball. And in the middle of that, in the year 2000 and 2001, we had the NBA come and have camp in Nigeria through some of our Nigerian athletes. That one of them was Oluwatoyin. He was in the Supersonics, and he came with the NBA to come scout for talent. And I happened to be part of the camp, so I got 2 awards, 2 years in a row: most disciplined player, most promising player awards, and that gave me a scholarship, a monetary scholarship, which I used to pay for my certification journey as a fitness and wellness coach. So that started off the fitness, but I had not set up a company there. I was still on my journey of transitioning. And also people were beginning to see me as that dancer that does fitness and affiliated to the sports community. It was not until 2003, 2004, that the dance part really took off from the entertainment industry, right? And that took off with an opportunity I had to be selected to appear on a talent show for models that they needed for this billboards and all of that, print media. And they're like, yo, you're very photogenic. We'd like to have you. Can you be part of this talent show? I was like, okay, but what talent? Because I don't know how to do catwalk and all of that. So they're like, no, you can just come and do what you know how to do. So it was dance. And I did a solo performance, and I had so many top entertainment celebrities, artists in the building. And that's where, from backstage after my performance, everybody wanted me to be in their music video. And that started my music video journey. So in 2007 was when I actually registered the first dance company in Nigeria. And that was Imagneto Dance Company, which we have now transitioned into the Kaffy Creative Agency. So that's to just give you a context to the journey.
Yeah, that's quite the journey from one thing to another. But still, I mean, you've continued doing this for 2 decades in total, not just as Kaffy Dance Creative Agency, but from the start. So how have you kept this running for so long?
The fire within me burns through the knowing that I am a solution. And when you have that at the back of your mind, that you can be a solution because you know where the pain points are. You've been part of the pain points. You know, you've been through, you've experienced that pain. And when I say pain, I'm not just talking about physical pain. I'm talking about when life throws you lemons, just in the journey of becoming, right? And there are pains trying to become, especially in the arts, the expression of art, and wanting to journey through that as a place you want to be to secure your life. And the world is saying no, family is saying no, economy is saying you don't have a security being an artist. You know, your lifespan of being that expression is limited. And I'm a non-conformist to that thought process. So what has kept me going is to continue to blaze the trail that says it is possible to attain the highest level of human achievement capacity, and as well as impact, by being whoever you are, whether it's as an artist or any other choice of career. So that is what has kept me going, not because I don't meet bottlenecks, or I've not been frustrated from different phases and kinds of obstacles. They come in various forms. There's an obstacle against you as a girl. There's an obstacle against you as a practitioner. There's an obstacle against you from a socioeconomic perspective. But all of this, I'm able to run through this race with the fire within me that says, I'm a solution. I'm a solution. And I have a vision. And the vision is, I'm going to take creative arts to a level in Africa where an average dancer or creative can afford life luxuries. You can buy a Lamborghini. You can be a billionaire. Even if you're not a billionaire, you can be well-to-do and have a beautiful life by being an artist. And that's the goal, and that's what is still keeping me running today.
I have a couple of questions off of that, because this opens up such a big discussion of all of your work. So first, to start with, it's about entrepreneurship. So a lot of people get into entrepreneurship probably because they want to be their own boss and things like that. So what would you say, you sound like you have this other reason for keeping going, right? The reason that you've been propelled is you see yourself as a solution for things. What would you say to someone who wants to become an entrepreneur? What advice would you give to them?
First of all, we need to look into that definition of entrepreneurship, because I feel that the world is in a space where we're all looking for some level of self-worth and validation of self. And because of that, we are burdened with the idea of owning keeps us valuable. If I can say, this is my company, this is my thing, we are not looking at it from the place of serving is valuable. So for me, being an entrepreneur is being, first of all, someone who can serve. Even when you're working under someone, you're already an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is not something you become, it's who you are. You understand? The only difference is the fact that, okay, you have more responsibilities because you are a CEO or your name is on the legal documents. As the owner, if you don't have insight or you don't have the ability to serve, you cannot take your business past 5 years before you have to shut it down. So I would say people should never take for granted the journey that position them to work for other people, or put them in a position where their path in life is derailed a little bit off where they want to be, but where they are right now is where they should be. Let me give you a perfect example. Yes, I wanted to be an aeronautic engineer. I couldn't do that not because I'm not brilliant enough to do it, but my parents, one part is affordability. Another part is they think it's a waste of money, because how can a girl go and learn such a high level course only to end up in the kitchen? I don't know why they think I'm going to end up in the kitchen, but that's a cultural mindset, right? About all of that. However, the journey of trying to attain so much education to pursue that led me to seeing dance as a solace of becoming, because aeronautic engineering was a tag of a place to serve, but it's not a definition of who I am as a being. So who am I as a being? I want to solve a problem. Why did I choose aeronautics? Because I felt there was a lack in female aeronautic engineers in Nigeria. In fact, there was not enough aeronautic engineers in Nigeria as at that time. So I felt I needed a space that I can function at, where I am useful to my country and my environment. Mm-hmm. So if we look at it from that journey, it will look very funny that, why did you want to do aeronautics and you now went to dance? Dance looks like a lesser thing to do, but no. Dance gave me more opportunity to touch lives than I will ever have done as an engineer, because an engineer, I'll be stuck with the machines and whoever flies the planes. But as a dancer, I meet people one-on-one, whether I'm serving them as a health professional, or I'm serving them as an artist who needs to grow his life or his craft, or I'm serving as an educationist through schools, or I'm serving as a mentor towards young people. I am still not taken away from the core of my existence, even though the career path kind of like split. I don't know if that makes any sense. So people should learn to enjoy their journey. Okay, the journey of where are you? Okay, there's where you want to go. Understand your why. Enjoy the journey of where you are right now while you're on the journey of that pursuit. So that's the advice I'll give an entrepreneur. There is a journey in front of you right now. And if that journey is working at Tesco or being a shop attendant, because I was a shop attendant at some point in my life. I also was a nanny at some point in my life. All of this were the process of life. And right now, for everything that I was on the journey of becoming who I am today, every part played a role. Every part played a role in where I am today. So don't underestimate the value of your process. I'll say that to any entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is just a word for more responsibility and a bigger servant.
I think that's a really powerful message, and often we don't hear about it, especially someone who has pivoted so many times, and many careers these days aren't linear, right? Not everyone goes from, studying science into aeronautics into becoming an aeronautical engineer. They might pivot into becoming a dancer, a business owner, or something else, and it all plays a role into feeding into it. And I think also it's a good question with dancing too, and with the arts. Like you said, most people, you're like, you can become very well off or a millionaire or something very good with being in the arts. And I know from an interview that you did that you weren't necessarily supported in becoming a dancer either. So how did you pursue your career in dance and have this big drive, even though your family and your community didn't believe in you?
Yeah, so that played a major role in the course of my journey, because it was emotionally daunting, because you need the people you live with are the people that you hope and you wish understood. But I grew out of the resentment I felt towards that when I understood that it wasn't really from a bad place, it was from the place of your understanding. And truly, because of the some of the slack in the structure of the career path of an artist, it is easy for people to conclude that it could easily be a waste of time, right? You know, especially when there's no structure in place in your environment or your community to support the journey or the different kinds of journey you can take. So they had a valid point for not supporting, right? I will just make that as an excuse based on that is what the reality is showing to them, that show me one dancer that has made money. And I do not have anybody to show them within my environment. Show me somebody that is upright, you know, especially from a moral perspective. And, you know, most of the artists don't even do a good job in portraying some certain lifestyle, you know, behaviors publicly. So the good people don't showcase their good, while the ones that decide to do some of those immoral things do it openly. So your parents are afraid. I know my daughter especially is not going to go into art because she might turn into a prostitute. She might end up being abused sexually. She might end up, you know, being in gangs. You know, so there was just this negative air around the arts, the culture of entertainment and art generally, that just makes parents afraid. We love entertainment, but we don't want an entertainer in our house. You understand? And for me, I wanted to ask them that. Okay, I asked my mom and dad one question one day. That was my uncle actually. I said, "Does being a doctor guarantee that you're a good person? Does being a lawyer prove that you are contributing to the well-being of people without removing just the status of your name tag? Because being a doctor doesn't mean you can be a sex offender, a molester, a thief, a corrupt person. You could be all of that and still be a doctor. You could still be all of that and be a lawyer. So what guarantee is it that I'm going to be a good person if I pursue law and accounting? So the only thing that you should be happy about, that you're raising a good human being. And whatever I decide to pursue in life, I will still be a good human being in that. I don't forget where I come from and all of that. So those are the conversations that were helping them relax a little bit. And I also played a part to help. And I want the young people out there listening, you know, to also consider the fact that when people don't understand certain things, there will be resistance. Don't add more resistance by being rebellious to the point where you are disrespectful of the people that actually are trying to protect you, but in their own way. So I tell a lot of young people, you don't yell at your parents because you want to get your way, because you know for sure you want to dance. You are just proving them right, that you see the reason why I don't want you to dance is because of this behavior. So I also was very intentional about how I moved, how I walked. If I go out, I'm reporting. You know, when I make a little bit of money in Africa, our culture, you need to come back home contributing. The moment they see that you are contributing, I'm buying the littlest essentials. They are not expensive, but they're essentials. And when I make money, I bring those home, and they're like, oh, she's still a responsible kid, even though she's dancing. So that was giving it didn't mean they didn't kick me out of the house at some point. But I mean, it was part of the things that kept on giving them that notion that we're not losing our child just because she's going into the arts. Then breaking milestones, being on TV, being on radio, and finally doing a Guinness World Record. That was the icing on the cake for everybody, socially and at home. You understand? Because I had the odds that were against me were 5 odds: family, economic, culture, religion, right, and peer pressure. You have your friends. You know, you have people who look down on you and say, "Oh, I'm in Harvard, and what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm in here." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I lost some friends just because I'm a dancer. You understand what I'm saying? So navigating all of that and continue to pursue excellence paved the way. and why it was more difficult for me as vis-a-vis maybe someone in America is there was literally no industry for us here. Apart from opportunities to perform at cultural festivals and national events, there was no commercial structure to say you can earn. I had to develop that. I had to figure that out along the way with all of these pressures hanging over me.
Yeah, which is why you're considered to be a trailblazer in your field, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I remember we were talking in a pre-interview, and you were telling me how, you know, part of how you basically proved how much you were worth was having people, even when you weren't being paid, write up these invoices, right?
Yeah. So that's what I did. So one of the things I did was that, like I told you in the pre-interview, nobody wanted to pay because being on TV is like a major privilege. Just like now that we are practically all walking TV stations with our phones. Or over then, you need to be somebody or doing something or need to be major to be in front of a camera. So off of that, anybody shooting a music video or whatever feels that they're doing you a favor by putting a camera in your face. And I'm like, no, let's change the dynamics of that. That's a perspective. But what about the perspective of I'm rendering a service to your artist, right? So first of all, I needed to change the mindset. And that's why I said my education and my pursuit of being an aeronautic engineer paved the way for me because it was hard for you to find somebody highly educated, choose dance. They're looking at you like, are you crazy? So I am very articulate and I could defend my profession and I had the lingo of an academic person speaking and so they were not expecting me to speak the way I spoke. And I'm like, I could defend what I could tell you where you're wrong and where I needed you to. So those were the things that made them listen to me like, okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for free. But however, I am going to send you a document to show how much I would have charged. And I'll put it at 100% discount so that they can be registered that you did not pay me. Yeah, obviously I did a lot for free, gentleman agreement, but I knew that that is what I was going to do. And I started doing it earlier on. And that helped. And what helped was the result of my service. Because one of the problems I had, and I still tell a lot of young people today, you can't just go demanding, this is how much I am worth, without proving it to the system that you're working for. I needed to prove that I affected the bottom line of the music business. And that was how I was doing. And how was I able to do that? Rendering the services for free with a documentation of the worth of the work that I was doing. Somewhere on the other hand, then the excellence that I put in place showed itself because it takes a lot of money for a label to have airplay of the artist's music video online. So because I am that new thing, sensation that people have never had to see on TV before, they automatically were generating airplays for free because even the TV station saw me as good content to keep people glued to their TV. So what does that do to the bottom line? That means that an average label who was supposed to spend maybe 5 million naira for promotional ad for TV doesn't need to spend that much. I am saving it. Maybe he spends now 2 million because Kaffy pushing my video has saved me 3 million. What does that do? It means that in the middle of that 3 million, I can have a prize. So if I tell you I want 1 million, you would not hesitate to give me because I saved you 3 million already. So you have 2 million to take back. So that's how I started building my worth. And the good thing is there's ego in the system. So one person uses Kaffy, doesn't want the next person to use Kaffy because I want Kaffy to be for my music video for now. I want it to be exclusive for me for a bit. Guess what they do? They increase the price by saying, oh, you know how much I paid Kaffy? He probably paid me maybe 1 million, but he tells his colleagues, I paid 5 million to get on board. So what does that do? It also creates perception. So people go like, oh man, if you want Kaffy, man, she's expensive. Like you need to go look for your money before you come to her. So where they don't have money, they offer me opportunities that scaled the different platforms that I operated on. So it wasn't like I was all about money. I was really about value. Money was just one of those currencies that I exchanged that with.
Yeah, that's so clever. I think that's a great lesson for freelancers, for entrepreneurs, and even people honestly working for an employer of asking for what you're worth and looking at the market. I think it's very smart. So that's why I had to bring it up live because when you said it during our pre-interview, it was like, oh, that's so clever.
Yes.
So I wanted to touch on also, so you said you were basically giving back to your family while you were starting dance, but you've given back a lot to your community in a really big way. So how have you drawn on dance as a way to give back to your community?
First of all, I started doing that one-on-one. I feel that if you're not thick about the idea of being a giver, you give at any level that you are as a being. Sometimes you give your time. Sometimes a word of kindness. Sometimes is the random act of kindness that you do. And I didn't start becoming a giver. I didn't have to wait to be Kaffy to give, because that would make it look like I'm just trying to buy validation. But I've always been able to do this even when I had nothing, you know. So, and my time is one of the most valuable assets I have, because I'm gifted with the grace to be able to speak into the minds of people and help them elevate their mind away from negative thoughts, feelings, or situation, because that's what I did for myself. And I'm able to transfer that to people either by engaging in activities that helps them do that, or straight up conversations, or actually looking into their situation and preferring clarity where they can make better decisions. So these are the ways that I've been doing it ever since. I've been working pro bono at the National Stadium. The first 3 years of my career, it was all free, you know, until I started making a little money for me to continue to do the help on the side. So it's something that grew into my organization. And that's why I have the Kaffy Foundation. And the Kaffy Foundation is an acronym actually for the Creative Arts Foundation for Youths. And our focus is development of young people, by also looking at the areas that could be stopping that development. One of the biggest areas for me is education, access to training for their craft, and their health, And another thing that we do also, we have what we call Add a Cup. Add a Cup is a palliative initiative where we feed people. And during the COVID, it was one of my biggest years as a philanthropist and as a foundation, because right from my house, I was able to activate 6 different states in the country and feed people in over 12 communities across the country. And I had a lot of companies bring in, you know, money donations, food donations. A lot of that was going on. So, and that has not stopped. You know, we keep doing that in different parts of my establishments. You know, I keep giving back. I do that with my workshops. I have what we call the Afro Dance Expression Workshop. Recently, I did one for creatives in general, so that I'm not limited to the dancers alone. It is called Passion to Profit. So we started that last year. We had 2 editions and the last quarter of the year. We're going into our next edition shortly. So these are different initiatives that I've been doing. Under the fitness and wellness, I have one coming up now. It's called Love, Heart, and Vibes. It's also a free event where people can come and not only participate in a wellness program, but get help with implementing a wellness lifestyle. So we had clinics come. Yeah, we had clinics come. They brought their vans. They did free diagnostic checkup for people. We had massage. We had different kind of things to just help them encourage that these are the kind of things you need to look into when taking care of your body. You know, and in Lagos or Nigeria in general, times are hard. So you can't just be hustling every day and your body's going to eventually break down. So that's another initiative that I do. There are quite a number of them. We have the education one, academic one. I have 2 graduates about to emerge in the next couple of weeks from Miles University, and we have that of Sky University actually. I have collaborated with some of these university entities to help subsidize the rate of education, the way we're able to pay for certain people. So yeah, I can go on and on with
so
that.
many. I was going to say, you have so many programs you're doing. I love that. If you want to drop onto our followers, you know, about Love, Heart, and Vibes, that sounds incredible and impactful, or any of your other projects. Yeah, I think we could go just on and on with all of your work for the community.
Yeah.
And we're just about out of time, in fact. So I wanted to ask 2 things, like really quickly before we signed off. One was about breaking the Guinness Book of World Records longest dance party. How did you do it, really quickly? And then I have one last question.
Okay, that is a long story, and I'm sure if people can get my book, they will have a lot of insight on my life, my journey and also more details about this entire stuff. It's almost like everything that we said, you can get the full, and it's on Kindle.
Great. What
You know, it's on
is it
Amazon.
called? So I
It's
can't see
called
it right now because it's in
it's
reverse.
called Ajota. Alajota.
Alajota. Okay.
Good. The meaning is, now this is a word used to insult you as a dancer in Nigeria. However, the irony is the literal meaning is actually valuable. The literal meaning is one who dances to make wealth, who dances to sell, who dances to market. So I'm like, I will own that, but change the narrative of his meaning.
I love that.
Because yes, I do sell dance, but I sell it to bring solution to humanity. So that's why the title had to be that.
Yeah.
That Alajota. Yes. So I will send you a signed copy. So
Okay.
I'm sure you like to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
So,
much. We look forward to reading.
For the Guinness World Record, just to summarize it, it was an initiative brought by Silverbird Group. That was our biggest TV station at that time. And the owner, Mr. Ben Bruce, is someone who really loves what I do. And he said, what can we do to bring Nigeria into a good place internationally? And here was the opportunity to do this, break this record. At the time, it was about 52 hours was the former record. And I was like, I've not done something like this before. And it was like, well, you don't have to do it. So we had to increase the chances of Nigeria breaking it by creating 4 groups that did it simultaneously. My group was the one that lasted, right? And yeah, my group is called the Zebra Group. So we're the one that lasted, and it was one of the most challenging and growth phase of my life, because I knew then that I was made for leadership, because more than 80% of people in that group were not people I knew. I don't know who they were. I don't know their strengths. I don't know why I had to lead them to the very end, because you could not afford to lose 7 of your members. If you did, you're disqualified. So I learned leadership, instantaneous leadership skills. I learned empathy, compassion, patience, drive, putting people together when you don't even know where their background is, but getting them to achieve a common goal. And it was really, really tough. At some point, I developed pneumonia because it was really cold.
Wow.
Yes, but I had to keep going, because when I opted to not continue, because I think I had already led my team to a safe place where they could just break the remaining few hours, they were like, they're all going to leave the floor if I left. And I took one of my breaks. You know, there's some legal breaks you're allowed to have. And I went to the ambulance. The doctor said, you are burning up. You got to stop. I said, I can't stop.
Wow.
I got to go back in. So I remember walking back into the tent, and I looked up to the sky. I said, God, I'm walking in there right now. It's not me anymore. I don't know where the strength is going to come from, but this has to end. I have to finish this. So I went in, and the rest was history. And that really gave me the voice I needed to pursue this course, because nobody ever has seen a dancer on a billboard before then. Dancer being interviewed. And I think one of the things that struck them was that she's pretty intelligent. Like, are you sure you're a dancer with all of this intellectual capacity that you have? And I think that was one of the driving forces that allowed brands to really resonate with me, and the fact that I was pursuing it not from a place of I just want to be a star, but I wanted to impact. And yeah, I think that was what did it for me, really.
Great. Okay, so one last question before we go. So Kaffy, what is your #1 tip for those who want to empower women and girls in their communities?
#1 tip.
Yeah.
First thing I'll say to any woman, I'll say to the women first before I say to those who want to empower women. Women empowering women, I believe every woman should do the inner work of healing herself before trying to empower anybody. Because the world is full of toxicity and toxic narratives, and we need to change that. So empowering is one word, and empowering could go different ways. You could empower negatively and empower positively. For positive empowerment, we need to heal. We need to do the inner work. And that's the only way we can truly, truly have the Women Raising Women initiative do its work properly. Secondly, for those who want to empower women, I will tell you one thing. You want to heal the world? Empower women. Yeah. That is the nature of their make. Women are nurturers by every standard, whether they are bosses or mothers, whether they're sisters or caterers, whether they're nannies or teachers. When you can invest in the growth in the well-being and in the safety of women, you are empowering the world at large by just doing that.
Thank you, Kaffy. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being with us today. And a big thank you to our online viewers for watching. So if anyone is interested in learning more about awesome exchange alumni like Kaffy, you can visit our website at alumni.state.gov and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon on Next Mentor Talks.
Don't forget to collaborate with me on this post so I can also
We will. Yes, looking forward to it. Thank you again, Kaffy, and thank you everyone else. Take care. Bye-bye.